It's the start to a new year, and life coach Pat Barone is here with ways to make your New Year's resolution stick. And this morning we're going to talk about permanent weight loss because a number of people make that resolution.
That's the biggest resolution people make is weight loss.
Isn't it? Well, I think we've all heard it, but what are some of the ways that you can stick with it then?
Yeah, what you want to do, of course, is establish permanent weight loss and not yo-yo back and forth. A lot of people just focus on the diet and then they gain the weight back when they're done with the diet. So you want to look at it a little differently if you want permanent results.
Okay, and what are some of the ways to do that then?
Well, you know, the first thing is the focus. When you're working on permanent weight loss, you really want to focus a little bit more on the inner part of it. You know, your own motivations and things like that, your own habits and behaviors, rather than just the outer part of weight loss, which is the physical.
And then the pace of it, what does that mean?
The pace is very different when you want to do it permanently because it needs to be slow. It needs to just be fat loss, not other things in the body. Because if it's slow, then the body doesn't get disturbed and fight back by lowering the metabolism.
And also, then hopefully that becomes more permanent by being a little bit slower, and you shouldn't be discouraged if it's coming off slower.
Right, because then your body's not going to react by lowering the metabolism and slowing the weight loss and fighting you. You don't want to fight against the body because you'll lose.
And then some areas of change?
Well, you know, behavior is very different than just focusing on food. Most diets just focus on food and again, what's outside yourself. But if you focus on your own behaviors and change those, then that goes forever. You know, once you've changed a behavior, it's much easier to keep it.
Now let's talk about some of the steps that you can take to lead to permanent weight loss.
I brought a few steps along. Anybody can follow this and go right through the list here. The first is to be honest about what's going on with you. Make an honest assessment.
And maybe why you're overeating.
Yeah, take a little time and really look at that. The second is that you want to establish a meaningful why. It needs to be deeper than I want to be a size 6.
So the why is why you want to lose weight or why you're overeating?
Right, why you want to lose weight.
Okay.
And that becomes your motivation over time. So it's very important that it's very meaningful to you. And again, much more meaningful than just a size or a number on the scale.
Okay. And you know, I used to sell clothes and we always told people, you're not wearing them inside out. Nobody knows the size of it. Buy something that fits you.
Exactly.
And then get out of excuses and be accountable.
Excuses really make us a victim. We become a victim of the weight after a while. So you want to make sure that you just exit that whole path of excuses and justification and that kind of thing.
So more or less take responsibility for your own actions.
Right, be really accountable.
That's probably one of the hardest things.
That's a big one.
And what about, what's real nourishment?
Real nourishment is comforting yourself, encouraging yourself, being there for yourself without food. Because a lot of people use food as a caretaker. So if you can get out of that mode of behavior, that is a big, big step.
Okay, and we have one more.
Which is apply patience.
And meaning that you're not going to drop it all in the first couple of weeks or the first month, and if you do, it probably wasn't safe and it won't be permanent.
It won't come back, right? It'll come back. But applying patience is hard for some people. But again, you want to ask yourself the question, do I want it now or do I want it for good?
That's a good point to make.
And you want that permanent change because that's where the results are. That's where, you know, you get to leave that problem behind for a while.
Well, thanks for the update and for all the suggestions, and hopefully a lot of people will have success with it this year.
I hope so.
Instead of dropping out by the end of January, as most do.